Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, has certainly been in the limelight quite a bit as of late. He's been interviewed a number of times, and he's been talking about a number of very interesting things, including the idea that, frankly, Ripple ends up getting attacked for being the most transparent company that works in blockchain and in crypto, period. I mean, I worded it that way. There is no other company that is as transparent as Ripple, and while it's the right thing to do, and it is good, and Ripple has been championing this idea of just being more transparent if you're working in the industry, it comes back to bite them. And so it's the right thing to do, but it does come back to bite them. And so I want to highlight some stuff he said. He's also been talking about technological aspects of XRP versus Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that use proof of work, aka mining. And when it comes to comparisons, there is no comparison. And he cited also, as I'll share at the end of this video, look, XRP, it's deflationary, frankly. And then you have other assets where, thanks to the nature of their construction, they're really not as much. And it's just fascinating to see that. Although you can, if you want to drive a narrative, you can absolutely be critical of Ripple and question the things that they have publicly made available in terms of knowledge. But when it comes to comparisons of XRP versus Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency, it is clear that XRP, from a technological standpoint, is vastly superior. And since the technology we're talking about is open source, at least we have transparency on that level, as I will illustrate in this video. So plenty to talk about, but I do want to be clear at the outset, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. And so here is a tweet that led to a video clip from a crypto media outlet CoinDesk. And they quoted Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse as follows. Ripple has consistently tried to be very transparent, where the irony is our transparency in some ways gets used against us. And that's what Brad Garlinghouse said at Consensus 2021. So this is just the other day. An interesting interview. And this is certainly not the first time this has happened. In fact, what popped in my head was this. Here's a headline from the Daily Hodl from January 24th, 2019, roughly 2.5 years ago. This has been happening basically forever. Ripple CEO and Ethereum co-founder clash over who controls XRP, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. And so I'm not going to read the article, but I did want to highlight this because it was fascinating. Brad Garlinghouse just sitting here, and this was at the World Economic Forum in Davos. And so he's sitting there with the host or interviewer, whatever you want to call the guy, and as well as Joe Lubin, who is a co-founder of Ethereum. And so Brad Garlinghouse just brought up, hey, when it comes to basically just the mining operations in general, there are varying degrees of centralization versus decentralization. And he was just citing effectively with XRP, you don't have that. And so then Joe Lubin, again, Ethereum co-founder Joe Lubin, he didn't really care for that so much. And it's true, like Brad Garlinghouse is just stating facts, and facts are facts whether you like them or not. And so Joe Lubin, he ended up asking Brad Garlinghouse, because look, you understand where he's coming from. It's where a lot of people that just don't like Ripple and XRP come from. They believe that Ripple holding a bunch of XRP means that XRP is centralized. But that's not the way it works. It doesn't matter how much XRP you hold as a business or a person. It doesn't, even if you have a ton of it, almost all of it, it doesn't give you special permissions over the ledger. Now, in a proof of stake system, that would be different. But understand, all of the XRP was created at inception. There was no mining process here. And so then Joe Lubin asked Brad Garlinghouse, so, as far as your XRP holdings, how much are you actually selling on the open market? To which Brad Garlinghouse quickly responded, we're very transparent about what we sell. And in fact, they've been putting out quarterly XRP markets reports where they divulge that information, and they don't have to. They're a private company. They've been divulging that information. And so this is where Joe Lubin thought he had a gotcha Brad Garlinghouse moment. So then Brad Garlinghouse turned around to Joe Lubin, who is again co-founder of Ethereum and also helped to create the Ethereum Foundation, which holds a ton of Ethereum. but we don't know how much Ethereum. And so he turned around to Joe and said, well, we're very transparent about what we sell. How much Ethereum are you selling? And then he's like, oh, you done messed up, son, which is exactly, you could just see it's like that deer in the headlights look. Yeah, well, just being, this is what happens when instead of being intellectually honest, you're just trying to find an argument that you think might win in the moment. It's better to just be intellectually honest, because then you have stuff like this happen. It's too bad. But this has been happening forever. That's the reason that I'm highlighting this here. And it's not particularly fair, but it is what it is, right? But on the bright side, like, you don't have to deal with some of this other stuff that, like, for instance, Bitcoin has to, thanks to the technological aspects, which are not exactly quite as savory as what's happening with XRP, because XRP, it's blazing fast. Transaction fees are almost zero, fractions of a penny, in fact, and regardless of size, mind you. And then it uses almost no energy, almost zero energy. And so you guys remember what happened a couple weeks or so ago, right? With Elon Musk announcing that Tesla was no longer going to be allowing their customers to purchase their cars with Bitcoin. Remember that whole announcement? Brad Garlinghouse retweeted what Elon Musk shared as far as the rationale and wrote, and this is on May 12th this year. Let's not overthink this. Few people have changed the world the way Elon Musk has. No doubt that Bitcoin is here to stay, but denying there is a problem isn't a path to solving it. Whether it's through renewables or architectural changes, let's keep moving on the solution. And that's in line, message-wise, with what he said back at the World Economic Forum in Davos here, this 2.5 years ago, because he cited, look, let's not pretend there's a problem when it comes to centralization versus decentralization and some of these smaller ICO type projects that maybe don't deserve to be here. He said, let's just acknowledge if there is a problem, and it seems that many people don't want to do that. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, given that they do have a problem, actually, look at what happened here. Look at this headline. Michael Saylor says Bitcoin Mining Council required to combat hostile narrative. And so, look, think about this. And I'm a Bitcoin holder. I'm pro-Bitcoin, but I'm willing to acknowledge shortcomings and critiques that are real, grounded in reality. And the fact that Bitcoin is an energy hog is a legitimate critique. It just is. It doesn't mean it's going away. It doesn't mean I want Bitcoin to go away. I want Bitcoin to stay around, but let's acknowledge the problem, just like Brad Garlinghouse says. And so Michael Saylor and others, they insist that this is not a problem. The Bitcoin maximalists say, no, this is not a thing. It's not a problem. And then they go and cite a bunch of stuff about how a lot of renewable energy is used in, going into the system. And and then most energy used to mine Bitcoin, though, is not renewable. But that doesn't seem to matter to them. So now what they're doing is they've created this mining council, or at least they're working on it. It was formed 2 days ago. That's right. And so they're doing this to combat a narrative. Now, the narrative is real, and it's founded in reality, but they want to swat it down. And so they're basically coordinating to do that. You don't have to do that if your technology is like XRP and doesn't require mining. And so at least Ripple actually is getting recognized, though, in many ways, thanks to the real world changes that are resulting from their technology. Because understand, like, what Ripple is doing, it's quite the audacious plan. It's impressive. They're changing the way money flows around the planet. It's been done the same way for 50 years within the legacy financial system via SWIFT, and now it's suddenly not. And so there was this tweet from Squawkbox, which is CNBC, and they highlighted, they actually had Brad Garlinghouse on CNBC just the other day, and they put the interview up here on the internet, but they shared a quote from it, and they wrote, this is from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse during the interview. We can make cross-border payments, which are slow and expensive today. We can make them real-time, very efficient, very low cost, and that is good for the global economy. And so then you think about what the SEC is doing, effectively trying to stop the real-world transformation, which is already helping some of the poorest people on the planet move money around, because there are open corridors, and they're damaging the corridors that touch the United States today. And it's sad. It's just really, Ripple's been working on this for the better part of a decade, and it is a force for good, and it is good for the United States. And then the SEC is just crapping all over him. And so, anyway, Brad Garlinghouse retweeted that and wrote the following. And part of this is rather comical. Check this out. He wrote, honored that, because they were recognized in CNBC's top 50 disruptor list for the second year in a row. And so anyway, he wrote, honored that Ripple is included in this year's CNBC Disruptor 50 list. It's truly the most exciting time to work in the crypto industry, and good news, Ripple is hiring. Thanks at Joe Squawk, so that's Joe Kernan who interviewed him, and Andrew Sorkin for having me on to chat about Ripple's transaction, the differences between Ripple and XRP, and the need for regulatory clarity. And then he highlighted the screen, this little screen grab here, and this is funny. How many times do you see mainstream media, when they're citing prices of cryptocurrencies, they cite the price of XRP, but they call it Ripple? On the screen it just says Ripple /USD, all the damn time, right? And it really grinds my gears because it's XRP, and they should know that they're mainstream. They should know the difference between XRP and Ripple, and it's not like they haven't been told. And so on the screen here, you can see Brad Garlinghouse is being interviewed on CNBC, and it says Ripple /USD coin metrics, and then Brad Garlinghouse took a screen grab, crossed out Ripple, and wrote in XRP. And so then he wrote in his tweet, on the second point, fixed your graphic for you, winky face, which I thought was funny. So I had to retweet that the other day. Ah, well done. Who better to fix that problem than Brad Garlinghouse? That's what you need the CEO of Ripple for. That's the primary task right there. But it is cool to see all this. And so there's this article from Crypto Newsflash. Ripple makes it to CNBC's Disruptor 50 companies for making waves in crypto regulation. Ripple has made it into this year's CNBC Disruptor 50. The list recognized the top 50 private companies globally with a rapid pace of technological change and poised to emerge from the pandemic as the next generation of billion-dollar businesses. Ripple was feted for making waves in crypto regulation. So at least right there, they're being recognized by somebody who seems to get the broader implications of what is being done there. So that part is good. But then they note here, Ripple has been fighting a legal battle with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission since December last year. The regulator accuses the firm and its two topmost executives of selling unregistered securities. And while this case has dampened the market for XRP holders, CNBC sees it as an advancement of U.S. crypto regulations. And the business news outlet, which is one of the world's most renowned, contends that Ripple is making waves in crypto regulation. Whatever the outcome of its lawsuit, it will impact the crypto industry in a major way, both in the U.S. and globally. And it's fun to see, because, there are other lists that have actually, like I think specifically about CoinDesk's list, I can't remember what it's called, like the top 100 movers and shakers in crypto, that's how they call it, but that's effectively what it is. And there were, for every year, effectively, for as long as I can remember, there are always at least 1 or 2 or 3 people from Ripple in the list, because they've had this substantial impact in the evolution of the cryptocurrency asset class, plain and simple. They absolutely have, whether you like them or don't, they have had that impact. And they were snubbed this year. After the lawsuit, the news came out, the following month, CoinDesk had their list, and Ripple employees nowhere to be found. So anyway, it is good to see this here. And then there's this headline also. Ripple CEO claims XRP has zero inflation, unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum. In his recent CNBC interview, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse claims that XRP has a zero inflation dynamic because all existing tokens have been pre-mined. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this term pre-mined because it implies that there was a mining process of some kind, which is factually incorrect. There just isn't. So I wish there were another way to describe it, but it looks like that term's just going to be here to stay. So maybe I have to embrace it. No, just do things the Moon Lambo way. Stop using that word. But here's the quote from Brad Garlinghouse. All of the XRP that has ever been created has already been created, so it's zero inflation dynamics. Now, Garlinghouse says that Ripple owns a lot, but XRP Ledger's consensus algorithm presents the creation of more tokens. And this, according to the executive, sets it apart from proof-of-work cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are still being mined. And so, look, these are just facts. And so even though there's ultimately a finite amount of Bitcoin that's going to be mined, in the meantime, it effectively is an inflationary asset in terms of the introduction of coins into the market. And so you could say the same thing about XRP, to be fair, and I understand you certainly can make that argument, but Ripple didn't create XRP. So the way that, if you look at any cryptocurrency index, like CoinMarketCap or Live CoinWatch, the way that they track this stuff is once the cryptocurrencies are they leave the hands of the creators, then they've technically been issued, and so from there it's considered to be a part of the circulating supply. Ripple is the only exception I'm aware of to this, where Ripple's not the creator, and it's not considered to be their holdings. They're not considered to be in circulation, and it's not because the XRP is in escrow. If you're thinking that that's not true, they were not including this in the circulating supply before it went into escrow, so nothing has changed there. So you can look at it however you want. And also, it's also true that in terms of dollars and percentage increases, Bitcoin mining results in a substantially higher amount of Bitcoin entering the Bitcoin ecosystem compared to XRP entering the XRP ecosystem, if you are looking specifically at what Ripple has been selling. They just sell a tiny percentage of total volume. So there we are, though. I tell you what, despite the nonsense that Ripple has to put up with from Bitcoin maximalists and people that like to pretend reality isn't reality, and it's coming because they're just so transparent about what they're doing with their holdings, despite the fact they have to deal with that, at least on the tech side, all of the inferior cryptocurrencies from a tech perspective, they have to deal with the brunt of that, and XRP, being the superior technology it has, it doesn't have to deal with any of that. I don't see articles about XRP slow transaction times or high transaction costs or it being an energy hog. There's nothing like that. So at least since the tech is open source and that from that perspective transparent, we all know the situation. But I'll go ahead and wrap up there. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.